Hey, what is up everybody? My name is Brienne, you can also call me Owlco, and in this video I am going to talk about why you should not buy chameleons in pet stores. Primarily chain pet stores. I'm not talking about locally owned pet stores because the locally owned pet stores tend to do a lot better with keeping the reptile care up. So again, this video is primarily talking about the chain pet stores, larger company pet stores that you see in every city. There's like 4 in every city. Or locally pet stores most of the time do really good and keeping and giving out good information to care for the reptiles that they are selling. So let's get to it. You can go into a pet store and all of a sudden you see that little tiny chameleon in the little tiny cage, and you think it's the cutest thing on earth and you want to buy it. However, let me teach you some knowledge, is that little tiny chameleon is probably not old enough to be sold, because any good responsible breeder is going to not sell their chameleons until they're a few months old. Normally it's 3 to 4 months old, and the reasoning behind that is because by that time they're going to be weaned off of fruit flies. And it really pains me to see those tiny chameleons that are literally around like this size being sold in the pet stores, because the unexpected buyers are buying these chameleons and the pet store doesn't even sell the proper food to actually feed these chameleons, which can result in a very short chameleon life and choking from larger crickets being eaten or given to that said chameleon. Other than that too is, you know, when you see that chameleon in that tiny cage, that it cannot be, the pet store cannot provide the actual proper care to actually house these chameleons for sale. So yes, pet stores say these are just temporary cages, but at the end of the night, the pet store employees are not taking these reptiles and putting them into larger cages. These chameleons and other reptiles are staying in these small cages until they get sold. So that means that tiny baby chameleon, if it does not get sold right away, it's gonna grow and grow and grow, and it's gonna be stuck in that tiny cage. Now, I remember one time I went into a pet store and I saw a chameleon being sold, and in one of these tiny cages, and there was only one light bulb. Yes, one light bulb, and it was a tiny nano basking bulb, not even being provided with a UVB bulb at there, which, as we know, chameleons do need that UVB light to help them kind of supplement their food and get that calcium intake into their bone. And this can be very problematic because without the proper care that is being supplied to these tiny baby chameleons, they're not going to be able to grow properly. They're going to develop MBD really fast, as well as when you take that chameleon home, there is a really high chance of that chameleon either having a really bad infectious disease, metabolic bone disorder, or even a respiratory infection, again resulting in an early death for that chameleon, and a lot of money being spent by that chameleon owner now. Yes, there's a lot of problems, and it very much frustrates me to see these chameleons being sold. If you can't have the proper husbandry and housing for a chameleon when you're selling a chameleon, do not sell them to people who are gonna buy them and buy sick chameleons. It's wrong. Another big reasoning that I have to why you should not get a chameleon from these pet stores is because often enough the pet stores do not supply the proper materials and accessories that you need to house a chameleon and successfully keep a chameleon for the majority of its life. So right now I'm taking a look at PetSmart on my laptop, and I went on to their Shop by Reptiles, and I'm trying, why are you frozen? But anyways, I am trying to see what's the largest cage and most appropriate cage being sold on their website, and most likely in their store too, for a chameleon. Now, when I take a look at all of the cages that they do have their Thrive reptile terrarium essential kits, and what's really frustrating is that these cages on the packaging have chameleons on them, but the cage itself is not I repeat, is not appropriate for a chameleon because A, it's just too small. And then I just scroll down and literally, I think I can pass it. There we go. They sell ZooMed Reptibreeze Chameleon Kit. So I think actually this is the only chameleon kit that they have on their website. And you know my feelings on this. I made a video about it, but still, this chameleon kit is just way too small. I want to say like it doesn't tell me the exact measurements, but it's a medium Reptibreeze. Oh, okay, there's no instructions. That's and if you scroll down to the reviews, you can even see that it literally received 1 star or like 2-star reviews because it is complete waste of money, people are saying, and don't expect to see what you see in the box because it is not in there. And this other person even said, this kit will kill your chameleon. Probably. So do not buy it. So this is an example right now, is that the only thing that they are selling for chameleons in PetSmart is the ReptiZoo Chameleon Kit, which I believe is a medium-sized screened-in cage. So I don't even know how, where's my phone? I don't even know what the size of the medium cage is. I know, because I'm having a hard time finding the measurements. Oh, okay, here we go. So it says the ZooMed Reptibreeze open air screen cage medium is a 16 by 16 by 30 inches tall cage, which is most definitely not a big enough cage to house your chameleon for the rest of its life. And that is the only one being sold on their website, so please don't buy a chameleon from there. You literally will need to source other stores to actually find what you actually need to keep your chameleon healthy. So I really urge you, please do not buy from these chain pet stores. And yes, PetSmart, I am calling you out on this. Get bigger cages for chameleons if you're gonna sell them. Point blank. Often you'll see when pet stores do carry reptiles or other small animals, they'll also have like pamphlets or care guides that are located very close to the reptile section. Now, my problem with these pamphlets is that they're often outdated. You can tell because everything that they sell should have that has information in it, or a booklet or a pamphlet, will have a publication date. And often enough, these publications are a few years back. And chameleon care especially is ever so evolving. We're finding tons of new information on how to care and give the chameleons the best life possible. So these pamphlets literally just cannot keep up with the ever so evolving care for chameleons, but these pet stores are still keeping them and going by that old care guide that their company made a while back. I also do want to touch on is that often enough when you go to these pet stores, you see the employees are very, very young. So pretty much it's a part-time job for a lot of people, and a lot of people they're not knowing enough information on the reptiles that they're actually selling in the store. So if some unexpected buyer comes in and has a question about chameleons that maybe be detrimental to their health and the longevity of their life, that salesperson who is 13, 14 years old most likely won't know all the information. And this is why I make these videos, because you can learn from me. But anyways, so that's one of my bigger issues that I have with these pet stores, is that their employees are not trained enough to give out that information to you when you are purchasing a chameleon. So this is another reason why I believe that pet stores should not carry these types of reptiles or animals, because there's so much information to know about. I'm honestly still learning about chameleons, and I'm relaying that information to you guys. But if this is taking me like 3 years of owning a chameleon to actually absorb and know all this knowledge, an employee is not going to learn it in a 10 or less than 10-minute video that they have to watch before they're allowed on the floor. Okay, so coming to a conclusion of this video, I just kind of want to go over everything I kind of just mentioned. So first things first, I believe that these chameleons are being sold way too young at these pet stores. They should be at least 3 to 4 months old before you actually take them into your care. The reason is because A, they don't have the proper food for these chameleons at that age. Another reasoning too is these cages that they're putting these chameleons in are just way too small, and they do not change the size of the cage as the chameleon grows if that reptile stays in that pet store for a long time. Again, pet stores do not keep the right size cages that you need to actually properly hold a adult chameleon, which is like a 2 by 2 by 4 feet tall cage, which technically should be end goal of your chameleon. I had Carlo in an 18 by 18 by 36 cage for quite a while, and he did okay. Now he's in quite bigger cage, but again, those cages are not being sold at PetSmart, so you do have to source those cages somewhere else. And the employees that are selling these reptiles to you do not know enough information about chameleons. So why are you trusting them when you are asking them questions and buying your chameleon when they're not going to give you enough information or give you all the right products that you need to actually keep your chameleon healthy? Another big thing that I want to kind of go over is that often enough these reptiles that are being housed in these large chain pet stores, they come sick to you. There's, I think, like, I don't know what it is, but 75% of the time, that reptile that you're taking home is going to be very sick, and they won't live as long as they really should. But anyways, I hope you really enjoyed this video. I hope it opened up some eyes and maybe helped you learn something about chameleons and why you should not buy these chameleons from these chain pet stores. I always like to recommend to source out a breeder in your area or even in your country. So a lot of good reputable breeders, they will ship chameleons to you if it's close enough. They don't normally ship out of the country, but if it is within your country, a lot of times they just use Reptile Express. You get your reptile in a day and it's super easy. A lot of people ship reptiles across the country. I mean, from one side of the country to the other. But if you do not want to ship your new friend or new chameleon, I do recommend trying to find a local breeder in your area. Normally these local breeders do not have websites. They might have a Facebook page, but however, best way to find one is to go into Facebook, find a local reptile community group and ask. Literally ask, hey, does anyone know of any chameleon breeders or anyone selling chameleons in our area? That way, if you do have to, if anything, you just have to drive a little bit to actually get your friend. If you did like this video, please give it a big ol' thumbs up if you did agree with what I'm trying to put out there, as well as subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Don't forget to hit that notification button as well, because then you are going to get notified when I make any new YouTube videos on my chameleon or my other reptiles. But anyways, until next time,